patterns and noticed that a lot of people are still struggling with making a pattern swatch seamless. I'm slowly fixing some of them. I'm not going to fix all of them because that's way too many, but I figured I'd make this video to help y'all out since it's easier to remember something if you see it being done. But like looking at some of these swatches, like you can tell, so I'm going to look at just the JPEGs. I've got a folder with all the JPEGs everybody did in it. You can tell some of these, like, that's not seamless at all. We should be able to just like pull the JPEG into Photoshop to make it seamless. But you can look at an image and you can tell whether it's seamless or not um, based on whether the motif like carries over. So like I know that this is not going to be a seamless swatch because this red hand is missing a little sliver. It should have a little sliver over here, and the tip, and vice versa. The green of the fingertip should be over here. Same thing here, like this is blue, this is red because this corner is going to be below this corner. And let's see, looking at this one, yeah, this is also not going to be seamless. You can tell. So like right here, this is a little bigger. Right here you have this blue corner. Right down here, there's nothing related. So that's not going to be seamless. This one is not going to be seamless. I did just fix it. But anyways, okay, so I was working on one by James. Let me find it, and I'll show y'all how to do this with your own. Actually, what folder was I just in? Do I have the AI files? AI files. Marking them down. Okay, so this one. Okay, this is the one of James I just fixed. So let me find. I know his puzzle one. Puzzle. There it is. Okay, so here's the AI file. Opening that in Illustrator. Close. Someone had like a font in their pattern, and I can't edit it because I don't have the font on my computer. But okay, so to make your seamless pattern tile, remember you are going to look in your swatch panel and find the swatch that it is. I'm going to assume that this is puzzle. There's also one called new pattern. Let me just zoom in and see. Can I tell what the difference between these are? I can't, so I'm just going to assume that it was the last one created, which is this one right here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete everything in this document. And I'm going to pull this swatch out, like Jamie said, like pull the swatch out on to your working area. And then I'm going to open up my layers, expand this, so that I can find, let's see if it actually says bounding box. There's something here that says path, and that's probably right there. See that path right there? That is your actual like seamless pattern tile. So now what we need to do to get that, to be able to export it as like a JPEG that could be used in Photoshop or in online things, is we're going to go to Object, Artboards, Fit to Selected Art. So that's making your artboard fit to that selected art. And I'm just going to go ahead and save this document. And then to export that, to get your JPEG, you're going to File, Export, Export As, Use Artboards. Make sure that's the right artboard. Export. Be sure to change this to RGB. If you don't, then when you upload this online, the colors are going to look really jacked up. And I've been exporting everything at 300 ppi. So I exported that, and actually I don't remember where it went, so let me go check. Export as, where did I save that? Mockups 3 pattern tiles. There we go. So let's go check this and make sure that it works. So I'm going to open it in Photoshop. sometimes you want to check your edges, because when you export from Illustrator, what happens is when it's converting it from a vector to a raster image, it has to do something called anti-aliasing, which is where it softens the edges. And when it does that, it can often add either like a white or an odd colored border around the edges. So you just want to check. I don't think this is going to be a problem. But okay, so in Photoshop, what I'm doing to both test and make sure everything is seamless, and also to create my mockups, is you go to Edit, Define Pattern to make this a pattern swatch. A little thing will pop up for you to name it. I'll just go with that. And then to test it, you can go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Pattern. You can name this. This is just going to be the layer name if you want. Okay, so right here, you're going to choose what pattern you want. And right now, this is 100%, so it's exactly the same size. But if I want to do a test, I can do 25%. Now you can see sometimes when you scale these things up or down, like they start to look like really yucky, like kind of pixelated. 50% doesn't look too awful. Some of these just look so bad, and I'm not quite sure why that is, but we'll solve one problem at a time. So at 50%, I can see that I don't see any obvious signs that this is not seamless. I'm just going to zoom in and scroll around. Yeah, I don't see any lines, so this looks like this one is good. So I'll just close that. So now I'm going to bridge. I'm labeling the screen, so that's good. Let me do one more. For one. Okay, let's do the hand one, because that one will be very easy to see. Okay, so opening this in Illustrator. The pattern swatch is showing up in here, so I'm just pressing Control A to select everything and then hitting delete, dragging this pattern swatch out here in the work area, going to layers, expanding, clicking on path to get that path, hit object, artboards, fit to selected art, and see now, look. Okay, so this is how you can tell that it's going to tile. See, here's that blue hand. There's the top of that blue hand. Here's this green hand. The fingertips, here's the other part of that green hand. So like that part inside of there is your seamless tile. So for the AI file, I'm just going to save it like this, because this is all you need. And then once again, export it as a JPEG. RGB 300. So now give that a label so we can know that it's done. I know I did all of mine. JPEGs only. Hands. So, okay, that was the bad one. Did the good one save? So, okay. Ah, gosh, gotta go back. Where did this export to? Pattern time. Maybe the preview hasn't updated. Let me reload that folder. That's not it, because I can see this was made at 7/27. That's when I copied these in here earlier. Oh, here we go. I must have overlooked it because it's changed orientation. So you see, you can look here, there's that green. Okay, so opening this in Photoshop, going to Edit, Define Pattern, pressing OK, then going to Layer, New Layer Fill, Pattern, and I'm going to change the scale to 25% so that I can see all the lines. And you can see looking at this, like it looks pretty good. I'm going to zoom in to see if there's any seam lines anywhere. Does not appear to be. And so now, the awesome part of this is now that we have, trying to see if I've got, now that we have that pattern in Photoshop as a pattern swatch, I can, let me find this one. Okay, so when you add a new, and I'll add this as a new layer. When you add a new fill layer, you're adding a pattern. You can scale this to whatever size you want it to be. And it pops up this, etc. So it's filling the entire thing. So on this layer right here, I just have this part of the wall. I have it masked. And so I can click on this, and when I click on that icon, I can quickly switch to other patterns. So if you load all of our pattern swatches that everyone's made into Photoshop, you could then go through and swap them out very easily to see what you like better. And the other thing that's really nice about this layer mode is you can easily resize, like how big or how small you want it. So like there's, I don't know, if I was putting hands on this wall, maybe right there, 34%. And then the other thing is if you don't like where the hands are cut off on the wall, remember that when you have a layer and a layer mask, you can always click on this little chain to unlink the mask from the layer. So when these are connected and you click and drag and move something around, it's moving like both of these things together. But when you unclick this, so right here, I'm just moving the mask. You can see that the image is changing as I do that. If I click on the layer fill, you can see that I'm just moving the pattern within that mask. So that is my lesson for tonight. Hope that helps y'all.